The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu. We got a great show for you. Tons of winners on this side. No Carolina Panther fans, or people are going to immediately walk out of this room. Well, at least we hope. No trash talking allowed. Andrew Brethauer.
I've said I'd walk out on a few occasions if we talk about the Oilers more than we have to. I'll walk.
We have a question with the Oilers, but it's not what you think. It's not what you think. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. But we're pleased to be joined Andrew Brethauer, of course, the Lloyd Sports editor, and down here helping out once again on The Gloves Are Off.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Excellent. We're pleased to be joined by this man, no stranger to the show, especially with us in and around from the college area, with Lakeland College, the athletics coordinator, Rogan. How are you?
I am absolutely fantastic. Happy to be here.
Excellent. What's really great is tons of things happening, a lot of great success with the basketball teams. You look at the volleyball team on the women's side in particular, doing very well. And we have futsal coming up, which we'll get you to talk about in just a few moments. But first, let's talk about the task at hand, and that was the week in sports. And no better sport to talk about than Super Bowl 50. And either this was a great Super Bowl if you love defenses, or you might think it's just one of the worst, a Super Bowl dud, if you will. Where would you rank this in terms of your memories of Super Bowls, from best to worst, in between? What do you say, Al? We'll start with you.
I don't think it was the best. Last year I thought it was a better Super Bowl than this year. This year was, a little bit of both. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it. Power went out at our house, so I got to see the highlights. So
you were saved probably an hour of
a couple people have said that.
Terrible football, it seemed like at points, but I'm not going to push my opinion on you. What were your thoughts when you actually had the actual lights on at your place?
You know what? The highlights look pretty. Obviously they're going to show you the better parts of the game and stuff, and some of the not so great parts. But what I saw, it wasn't what I would call the top of the selection for me as far as Super Bowls over the years go. But the ads were great.
There was some positive out of that. At least, Al, you're definitely on that side of the spectrum. Glass half empty guy. Tell me how terrible it was, my man. At least agree with me when I say it compared to Super Bowl 49, where we had that great finish.
Oh, well,
this was
the
opposite.
It missed that Super Bowl moment, that catch, that play that we're all going to sit there and talk about forever. We won't have that. Next year, we're not going to sit there and be like, remember when Carolina did nothing, and that's what we're going to talk about. It's not like the last year's goal line stands or the David Tyrese catch. It's nothing like that. And it missed that crucial moment that I think it defines a Super Bowl, because this was such a defensive game, as you said, and it's something we don't have ever. When we watch a Super Bowl, we want to see a 35-0 lead at halftime. We want to see blowouts. We want to see scoring, and there was no offensive ability. There was like 2 goal line touchdowns. And
nothing from that offense. Yeah. You talk about the high-power offense from Carolina with Cam Newton. And you look at the opposite side. You kind of wanted to at least root for Peyton Manning in the sense that you wanted him not only go as a champ, but have a pretty darn good game to boot. 140-some yards and 1 interception. Not necessarily the greatest numbers, but at the end of the day, he gets his second Super Bowl to end his career. Now, this is going to be interesting, because he hasn't officially said that he's going to retire, if he will retire. There's a lot of speculation. The LA Rams are desperate for a quarterback, and there's no better person with big star power in terms of name that Peyton Manning would fit. Do you see Peyton Manning return to the NFL after his Super Bowl victory?
Oh man, Peyton Manning. He, for a guy who he's won 2 Super Bowls, right? So he's got, he's been there, done that. So does he go out and top, or does he end up coming back and going, gee, I'm going to try it again. I'll go to LA, and do you want to end your career potentially on something that could be an absolute nightmare for him? And then, he's almost 40 years old now. So holy smokes, how many years does this body have left in it before it gets broken into 100 pieces? So, I think he's got a tough decision to make. But you could say went out and top, second Super Bowl, life is good.
If you were Peyton Manning, you would retire. You would not return for another year.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's got a few shillings in the bank account, and he's probably going to be okay in that regard. And what else does he have left to prove? He's got a couple Super Bowls. He basically went into Denver, and he's basically helped his team get to where they are. Would they've got there without him? I don't think so. But so is he going to try again and do it? If he goes to LA, does that make sense? Is he going to be able to survive building another team? I think the smart move would be yeah, step away.
Talking about cents and dollars and dough, how about that kiss between Peyton Manning and Papa John's himself during post game, just before the interview that Peyton Manning did, and then on top of that, dropped Budweiser's name twice, which with analytics suggests is worth about $3.2 million in advertising by just saying their name from what he did for free. That is probably the greatest thing instead of paying $5 million, which Super Bowl ads were going for. What do you make of that?
I'm okay with it. And this is the media guy saying this too, but I'm okay with it. Remember back in the day we used to sit there with a smoke on TV, news is presented by Marlboro cigarettes? Like, what's wrong with it? I think some people look too much to do it. I'm fine with it. Did it really matter all that much that Peyton Manning's saying? We all know he does tons of stuff for Papa John's, so they're probably friends.
It doesn't tarnish anything.
It doesn't
no?
to me. It's
no. I don't think it tarnishes anything. Like, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be somebody out there with a camera trying to find him taking a picture of him drinking a Corona somewhere, right? But
well, that's fine. But so you guys agree with that? Well, how about Cam Newton in the essence? Like he was a guy that came in with so much hype, was dabbing left, right, and center, came out dancing, said, you know what? If you want to stop me from dancing, stop me on the field, which the Denver defense did. After post game, you saw him have a little bit of a spat. Did not like what was reportedly said in the interview beside him. Decided to leave the interview shortly after the loss. And then you look at his antics were like leaping on the ground, the frustrations after being hit, and you're looking at the referees. This was a different Cam Newton from what we saw for the last 17 weeks. And this is our MVP of this year in the NFL. Do you guys feel that it tarnishes his reputation, knowing that this guy doesn't seem like he can take the heat when he gives it continuously on a weekly basis?
I don't think you can say it tarnishes him, and I say that because this is his first trip to the Super Bowl. And if you look kind of back in history, a lot of players haven't acted probably the greatest they have. Peyton Manning, example, he's done it himself. He's snubbed people in big championship games. So I don't see it tarnishing him. It's obviously not the greatest light of your league MVP, the guy who's supposed to be passing the torch, probably the next Peyton Manning type player. But, it's his first time in the biggest game of his career. I expect him to be emotional. We talk to players all the time after they lose games and how emotional they get. So I can't even imagine losing on that kind of scale. To me, it's like you have emotions, like you're supposed to, and take all the money aside of it. They get down to it's just a game, and they're emotional about it.
Yeah, no, I think part of it too is the hype. A lot of people were betting on, Cam Newton's machine to win the Super Bowl, and a lot of expectations put on him. I think as an athlete, he put a lot of expectations on himself. Right afterwards, it's like, okay, let's get in there and find out why you failed. In his mind, he failed. He let his team down. People are kind of looking at him going, what'd you do? And of course, he's going to have a little temper tantrum. I don't think anybody is immune from that, because he himself is probably going, man, I just played 17 weeks here and trained a whole pile, put a bunch of time in, and I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Man, this is bad. Now you're asking me all these questions. How do I feel? How do you think I feel? I feel fantastic. We just lost.
Does he deserve the flack what he's been getting from the media in terms of his attitude?
Well, I think from a role model perspective, you have to sometimes suck it up and be a better role model, because, in our world, we talk to our coaches about you got to be a role model. You got to act in a positive light, even though the best things don't happen to you. It's who you are and trying to promote. And of course, the media is going to jump on to stuff that is not normal, right? And because they can build a story out of it. So I don't think he deserves it all, but he definitely deserves a little bit of flack for behaving in the manner he did.
All right, guys, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk about the big news that happened earlier today. Dion Phaneuf moving to the nation's capital. Stay tuned.